Hi everyone, my name is Aaron and welcome back to my channel. The Clearwater political establishment is freaking out because they know I am way ahead in the polls for our March 15 City Council election, and they are going to stop at nothing to keep me from winning. I'm going to show you in this video what transpired yesterday, but I want to say here right at the outset, we very much need your support to keep our momentum going. It is physically and literally impossible for my opponent to outwork me on the campaign trail. I am knocking on an average of 100 doors a day of likely voters in precincts all over the city. Because she cannot outwork me, her only chance of winning is to outraise and outspend me, which I'll explain a little further on in the video. But please, if you're watching this video, consider supporting my campaign at aaronforclearwater.com. So first, here is a throwback excerpt to a speech I gave to the Clearwater City Council. This speech was specifically directed at the 3 establishment members of the City Council 7 weeks ago. Here's that short clip.
I am running for Clearwater City Council because Clearwater has a perception problem, and I would like to change that perception. We have a lot of major and incredible initiatives going on in our city, initiatives that I personally am incredibly optimistic about. In order to give those initiatives the best possible chance of succeeding, I believe that we have to change the perception that everything around here is controlled by Scientology. I wish I had your support, and I'm sorry that I don't. But I promise you, I give you my word, if and when I win a seat on the council, I will work with you and all of the other council members regardless.
So I say there that I am more than willing and looking forward to working with all of the members of the City Council, regardless of whether they supported me or supported my opponent. Well, yesterday Clearwater's political establishment showed they aren't interested in working together, and they're prepared to do anything they need to do to prevent us from taking the fight to Scientology. The members of Clearwater's political establishment all have close friends who personally profit from Scientology, work for Scientology, and help Scientology forward their agenda. Even if members of the establishment personally don't like Scientology and wish something could be done, the establishment is compromised through these connections where the members all have close friends who literally profit from the existence of Scientology. This creates a huge conflict of interest in the halls of power in this city. The establishment does not want a council that's going to fight back and do something about Scientology. So yesterday, they took the fight to Mark Bunker. Take a look at this. Here's Councilmember Hoyt Hamilton admonishing Mark Bunker for publicly supporting my city council campaign.
We've never had sitting council people, a sitting council person, actively participating in a campaign for someone who is running for a seat, or even publicly endorsing any candidate. Mark, you're right out front working with Aaron. Nothing says you can't do that. It's just never been done.
All right, now watch this next clip that comes from one of several forums that were held in the last election cycle in 2020. In this clip, you will see our current mayor using endorsements of sitting council members against his opponents in the mayoral race.
Now, I can tell you that I'm the right person, but I think you ought to hear it from other people. As I said, Mr. Johnson and I worked with 5 other council members, Democrats and Republicans, even though this is a nonpartisan race. But all of them have endorsed me.
Those endorsements the mayor referred to absolutely included an endorsement from sitting council member Hoyt Hamilton, who just told you he had never in his entire career done such a thing, nor had any other Clearwater politician done such a thing. And that's not all. If you go to Councilmember David Albrighton's re-election website, this is the first thing you're going to see.
I'm here today to talk about David Albrighton, who's running for re-election in the Clearwater City Council race. David really deserves another 4 years. David's incredibly passionate about the city of Clearwater, having grown up here, raised his family, and now having grandchildren in the area. He wants to make Clearwater a better place for not only his generations of kids, but yours too.
That video of Clearwater's mayor endorsing Councilmember David Albrighton for re-election has been live for 2 months or so. But wait, there's more. There's another Clearwater City Council member who would like you to know that he wants you to vote for David Albrighton in the next election. Let's see which council member that might be.
You need that historic knowledge and perspective
to be able to really make sound decisions to move this city forward. And David is doing it for what I believe are all the right reasons. He's got kids, he's got grandkids, he's got his future family here in this city, and he wants this city to be as great as it can be for them.
That is absolutely incredible. Now, Hoyt Hamilton is terming out of his council seat. It is the seat he is vacating that I am actually running for. Now look, I have made mistakes in my life, but I have never blatantly lied to the citizens of Clearwater as you have just witnessed here. Hoyt didn't just say this was something he'd never done. He said this was something, what Mark was being accused of, was something no politician in the history of Clearwater politics has ever done. It's an outright blatant lie. Clearwater needs leaders who are, while imperfect, at least honest. Now, Hoyt already acknowledged in the clip I played for you in the beginning that Mark had not actually done anything wrong. Hoyt was saying that Mark was simply doing something that had never been done before. But then this happened.
But if we want to change the atmosphere, we want to change the environment of Clearwater elections, and I'm not sure it's changing it for the better, we can all sit here and do endorsements. This man right here has done so much good. For him not to get reelected would be a travesty, an absolute travesty. That's my opinion. For the people that are running in my seat, I think Lena by far is better qualified to sit here.
You have got to be kidding me. How can you take anything this guy just said to Mark Bunker seriously when all he did was turn around and double down and endorse two candidates instead of one, and do it publicly on the council dais instead of doing it off the dais in his private life? What Councilmember Hamilton just did is a violation of city policy, and here is the city attorney joining the conversation to tell him so.
We do have a council rule talking about making endorsements from the dais, and so I would encourage each of you probably to be careful to make sure that we're not endorsing from the dais, because we do generally tend to keep that separation between when you're on the dais versus when you're out there.
Councilmember Kathleen Beckman also weighed in on the matter.
Councilmember Beckman.
I am just shocked that that conversation just took place. To further the discussion and campaign for a candidate from the dais is, I feel, unethical, and as Mr. Margolis said, against our policy.
Just for reference, Kathleen Beckman and Mark Bunker are the two non-establishment council members on the 5-seat council. Hoyt Hamilton, David Albrighton, and the mayor are the 3 establishment members of the council who, with their 3 seats and their 3 votes, control the city council and set city policy. Council members Beckman and Bunker are seen as and treated as, in my opinion, outsiders by the establishment members of the council. And that is why the establishment is terrified of me winning my election. It will mean that the establishment will, for the first time in I don't even know how many decades, have lost their control over the council. That is what is at stake for them. Now, this next clip, you are not going to believe this. Check this out.
You're actively working with Aaron. If Aaron doesn't win, Lena does. What is Lena's incentive to, you see something you want to get done. What is her incentive to say, yeah, I can help you with that? When she doesn't have, I wouldn't have the incentive to do it.
Oh my goodness. I honestly cannot believe he said that. I mean, it rings true from prior conversation I have had with Hoyt. Mike Rinder and I actually sat down with Hoyt a couple years ago. It was a meeting set up by a mutual friend. And we sat down to discuss what Hoyt and council members like him could be doing behind the scenes to effectively fight back against Scientology. And at the end of that meeting, Hoyt said to me and Mike, at the end of the day, I'm going to do what's best for me and my family and my business. He didn't mention anything about doing something to represent the interests of the people of Clearwater who he was elected to represent. And that mindset is why the establishment has failed to do anything about Scientology here in Clearwater the past 45 years. They care more about their own butts and their own interests than they do the citizens of Clearwater. Hoyt says right there that if Lena wins the election, she will have no reason, no incentive to work with Councilmember Mark Bunker. He literally said that if Lena is elected to the council, she will put her own self-interests ahead of the interests of Clearwater citizens. Well, I guess we better make sure Lena doesn't get elected to the council then. Don't you agree? Okay, one last clip here. After the whole lecture, Councilmember Hamilton just gave Councilmember Bunker about the pitfalls of council members endorsing in races for other seats. Here's Clearwater's mayor saying he's going to be jumping into my race shortly to endorse my opponent.
That being said, I am going to endorse people this go around. That's how important I think this election is. And I am going to be endorsing people. I won't do it from up here, but people will probably see it out in the media because I think it's an important campaign. And so I'm going to take a position not only at the ballot box, but also with my endorsement of specific candidates. So.
And wouldn't you know it, within less than 24 hours of this meeting having occurred, the mayor came out today and officially endorsed my opponent for city council, the woman who has worked side by side with the Church of Scientology in downtown Clearwater for the last 9 years. I mentioned in the beginning of the video these incestuous relationships that Clearwater's establishment has with people who profit from the existence of Scientology. That could not be more true than it is for my opponent, Lena Teixeira. So there you have it. The establishment is going all out in this campaign to make sure that I do not win. These establishment folks have friends who run political action committees that control millions upon millions of dollars. There is a very real chance that their friends will dump a massive amount of that PAC money into my opponent's campaign to try and buy this election. That is why we desperately need your support. I absolutely hate asking for money, but we need it. If you would like to help us secure a victory, you can donate at aaronforclearwater.com. We have 5 weeks left until mail-in ballots go out. As much as 80% of the votes in this election are expected to be by mail-in ballot. So we have 5 weeks left to reach as many of the Clearwater voters as many times as possible, and we need money to do it. The best way to reach voters is knocking on doors, making personal face-to-face contact with likely voters. That is what I personally have been doing almost every waking hour of the day. And the second best way to reach voters is through direct mail, and that is expensive. So one last time, please consider donating at aaronforclearwater.com. And if you're going to donate $100 or more, you might as well join us for a fundraiser, a virtual fundraiser we're having with special guests Leah Remini and Mike Rinder, Thursday, February 3rd, 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll put the details in the description down below. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you to everyone who does watch until the very end. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right